5 years of YouTube, here I am, client, and then all of a sudden, in the last literally, it's been 12 months. It's just you've seen this monster spike, and I really think that it's because YouTube is starting to change the way that it recommends people, and it's really YouTube's getting better in terms of you know identifying where your audience is, and then getting your videos in front of them based on their viewing habits and what they're watching online. And so
that is really cool, because the reason that I brought you on was for that video, 10 business lessons I learned. And when you said that the janitor was making more, I was like, I got to get this guy on the show. I got to get this guy on the show, because he really has gone through it. Because honestly, I think your success is predicated because you were able to do business in the real world before you got on YouTube. Many of these kids, I'm not trying to marginalize them,
I understand,
but they just lucked into it.
That's it. I joke with people. I say, I went to VidCon not this year, but the year before. And what was really frustrating to me was hearing all these people trying to explain YouTube's success. It's like, okay, I got an analogy. Everybody's got a handful of crap and everybody throws it at once at a wall. And some people's crap sticks and others people, it doesn't. And, yes, there are some things that you can do that are going to help that basically successful YouTubers do consistently that you can model yourself after. But honestly, there is so much luck that is involved in getting a following, and it's it's incredible. It really is incredible. But yeah, the young kids, some of them, man, YouTube is going to be responsible for making more millionaires under the age of 16 than anything else in the history of history. Yeah. And, it's fantastic for some, but it's sort of scary when you think about it. It's like what I was doing when I was 16. I was working at a gas station. I was working at a snack bar at a pool. I was doing manual labor to make $5 an hour. And you've got these kids that are making 40 times more than their parents. It's like, no, you can't do that. Be like, it's like, how many 12-year-olds are pulling the purse strings, man? It's crazy.
I was showing a friend because I follow the beauty bloggers because they're pushing the envelope, because it was just, used to be pretty girls, but now a lot of them are really, really investing in their craft. They're doing more things with cameras. And there was this one girl, I showed it to my friend because he couldn't believe it, because he just like, I don't understand. She was still in high school and she just came on YouTube and said, oh, my parents give me money for nothing. I bought my own car. I did this. I bought my prom dress. I did all of that. And then there was a picture of her and the guy that was, going to the prom, because, he's one of those things that how old are you, by the way, before I get
39.
30. Oh, you understand. You understand the world has changed. The world has changed. The world has changed a lot, and many people just don't want to accept that. But I was explaining to him that a lot of these kids just simply do not care about racism, color. They just don't. If you're cool, you're cool. But for folks who are like late 30s, 40s, like I'll be 49 this year, and they're just like, no. And this girl who is stunning, she's stunning. She takes this black guy to her prom, and she's probably, I looked at her on social blade. She's probably doing about $5,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. In high school. In high school. So
that's crazy.
This just shows you what happens when someone has the economic ability to, she doesn't, like if her parents didn't like her choices, she makes enough money, she can move out.
Yep.
Not the scary thing, because can you imagine? You're 16 years old. Your father makes 50,000, but you make 150.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's trying to discipline you. What, he's going to take your keys? Wait a second. I bought your car. How about you give me your keys?
I know. It's just, you know what, Dad? I respect that, but I'm out of here. It's just, it is kind of scary. It is kind of scary, but it's also kind of wonderful, because I think that we are just in the beginning of this. I think this is just the beginning, because I'm looking at, what we were discussing earlier. I would probably hit maybe 15, possibly 20,000 new subscribers this year, which would be, it took me from 2009 to 2014 to get 20,000 subscribers. Yeah. And now I'm at the point where this could happen and jump in years, because I've watched a lot of YouTube channels and I've seen it happen. It's just all of a sudden you're looking at, they got 76,000 subscribers. Then like 4 months later, they're at 150. And it's like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it scales. And YouTube, as you grow, it makes you sort of like, it makes you put in the legwork first. And then all of a sudden, you know, once it sees that people are subscribing and you're uploading content regularly, then all of a sudden you'll see your numbers just start to skyrocket. It's really fascinating.
Oh, it has been tripping me out because I've got a whole new crowd and I've switched up my message. Unlike you, your message has been the same since pretty much day one. Grooming, being a gentleman. Now, how did you just decide to go on YouTube and come out of the gym management business?
It was a interesting transition. I owned a small fitness center, and I was miserable. I was not making any money. I was in debt. It was horrible. And so I decided to start an image consulting business. Something happened, interestingly enough. One of my gym clients came up to me and wanted to know what to wear for a date. And so I'd always been interested in clothing and grooming and style. And I'm very comfortable talking about pretty much anything because I was raised by a woman. And so, you know, she forced me to talk. And so I'm very comfortable talking about everything and anything. And so I started an image consulting firm and helped men, you know, with style and grooming. And one Christmas, my wife gave me a video camera, and I'm an only child with a big mouth and a video camera. So it was only natural that I was going to start talking about it, put it on YouTube.
Now, the gym, you're in Marietta, which I didn't know, which I think is pretty cool. You remember Coffee's Gym?
I do. You can spit on the floor. Yeah.
I used to work out there. I used to live on Franklin Road before it became the hood a long time ago. Yep. And it was just really interesting because there was a lot of things there. There was Coffee's. There was the main event on Powers Ferry. That's where the wrestlers would work out.
Luger, he owned it. Yep. And Sting, right? I think they owned that one. And
I saw him in there all the time.
I owned a nutrition store right across the street in the Fuddrucker Shopping Center called Discount Nutrition for a little while.
I gave you money. I went in that store several times.
You didn't. Well, you didn't give me much because I wasn't there long. Because this was before I got into the fitness business. My partner and I. Do you remember something called Blue Nitro? And like. Yeah. Okay, well, it became illegal, and he decided that he could make a lot of money off of it. And so he wanted to keep selling it sort of in the back, you know, hey, come give me $50 cash. I'll give you a bottle of Blue Nitro. And so here I am, and I didn't know much, but I did know that I would not do well in prison. I'd be popular, but it wouldn't do much for my creative, my creative growth and personal development. And so I decided that I just needed to get out of it. And so it wasn't long after we opened that store that I kind of took off and we parted ways. Interestingly enough, I think he actually spent some time in prison. So I made the right decision.
Man, I mean, that's really kind of creepy because I had a guy, I used to be in the storage auction business for real before the television shows and stuff on. And I had a guy approach me and they wanted to launder some drug money through the business. And I said instantly no. And he just like, well, when we make that kind of offer, we can't be. I was like, cool, hey, fine. You do your thing. He was killed. So your path of doing the right thing, because I'm like you, I would not do well in prison myself. That's not even on the map of things. Like, well, it's no. I cherish my freedom way too much. And it's just really funny that when you get on the business path, how many things happen to you that you can't talk to your normal friends about who have regular jobs. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, because when you did that 10 things I learned as an entrepreneur, my channel is predicated towards people who want to start businesses, and everyone is kind of looking at the first class. They're looking at Google. They're looking at Zuckerberg. When you start a regular business, maybe in your town, your city, and you get to 6 figures and you manage your money, you can have an amazing life.
Absolutely.
But everyone's looking at this whole, we're going to go become billionaires, when most businesses just don't have the scale for that. It's just reality.
No, and that's one of the interesting things with doing business online, and because I've seen it full circle. I started, with a nutrition store where I was selling a product. Then I went into the, fitness center business where I was doing personal training and selling memberships and supplements. And then the service business where I was, taking guys out, taking them shopping, and then to come and see how money is made online. And a lot of these people, it sort of skews your value of a dollar to some degree, because there's so many people making so much money, and you hear about, astronomical successes with, what is perceived to be little effort or little overhead or little, capital that is required in order to start it. But, the internet has definitely skewed my perception of business value of a dollar, if that makes sense. And it's hard to explain that. It's hard to explain that to somebody. It's like when you and I were talking a minute ago about, there's a 15-year-old girl who's going to make $500,000 for setting up a video camera and talking about boys in her bedroom when she gets home from school. That's the type of money that, that we're talking about and beyond. And so talking to somebody, another business owner, somebody who's starting a business who doesn't understand the internet and how money is made on the internet, they just don't understand. And so it's become a very taboo topic. I don't talk about money much with people anymore, just because it's different. A lot of people are in the business of trading time for money. You've probably heard that before, where, if I work X number of hours, I'm going to make X number of dollars. Well, the internet and even owning your own business allows that to change. And that's been one of the most beautiful things and the most liberating and freeing things that I've found in the past, X number of years since I've been doing this. Okay.
I'm going to explain it to you. And there's this guy that is named Nev Mihara, and he's got this video on titled "How the Fuck I Make Money." And I saw that, it was like, because you just said the keyword, no one understands, because I did a launch last month, and it was my most successful launch in 6 years. Let's put it this way. I could live off the money I made in 1 month for the rest of the year. Easy.
Yep.
And when I had a regular business where I had to grind, struggle, deal with code enforcement, deal with crazy people, the trash collector not picking. You earn so much of your money because so much of your time was invested in the business. And here's the funny thing, because you say it's a taboo subject. I'm a little bit more malleable because I'm a little crazy with it. But one side of my family thinks I'm a criminal because I don't have a job. So when you talk about it's a taboo subject, I was like, oh, let me tell him my story, because
that's a great story.
Too. I grew up in Alabama, very conservative family. And, a real man works in the steel plant. A real man works in the coal mine. You're sitting on the internet in your box. You did really well in school, and you write books and you wrote poetry. You should be a cop. Exactly. You're dealing with all of this social designation of who you should be based on the way you look. And going back to what you said about the internet, I can't have a regular job anymore. I've been self-employed since 2000. And I've been doing this internet thing since 2009. Completely, because I've always sold on eBay and Amazon when I had a storage auction business. But from 2009 up to now, I've been 100% internet based. And it does. When I was been extremely poor at one point in my life. I've been fucking homeless. And I've had days where I've made more money 3-4 times in days than I did in a month back then. And it totally, I'm not going to say it spoiled me because I'm extremely grateful. Sometimes I sit around on my desk on my scraps and be writing, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because there's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of people catching hell out there. And it's hard to explain this internet thing to someone who's rooted in, I go to a job, I get in my car, I get a check every 2 weeks. They can't, it just it's so bad. And one of my online courses, I got a course called Becoming the Boss because of the mental transition. How do you do that? And, you know, going to you, what was your transition like when you left the physical business world and got all digital?
It's been mine has been more of a transition. And so it's been me letting go little by little of some of the old things that I was doing. And the digital area that we occupy is fascinating, and it's amazing. But it's funny because, to your point, whenever I go to a party or a gathering with my wife, and people always, what is the first thing that a guy asks you when you meet him? What do you do for a living?
What do you do?
Well, so I used to say I make videos. My wife's like, you sound like a porn star. so I can't say. So she's preventing me from saying I make videos for a living now. But a funny story was that one day she needed some help around the house, and so we were interviewing a woman to come and help and clean the house occasionally, like once a week or once every 2 weeks. So she's giving her a tour of the house, and in one of the spare bedrooms, there's a tripod and my camera set up. And the woman didn't speak English 100% fluently, and so she didn't understand what YouTube was when my wife was trying to explain why there was a camera. She didn't know it was in there. So she walks in and she's like, they both looked at the camera, looking at the bed, and like, she's like, no, YouTube, my husband, videos. And she's like, oh, senorita.
I don't do porn. I do not do porn with you. I clean up after porn, but I do not do porn with you.
I don't know what your Spanish is for freaky, but I think it came out of her mouth.
Oh man, that's funny. Let's put it this way: when I go out, I've written a few books and they're on Amazon, so that's the standard line. Oh, what do you do? I'm a writer.
Yep.
Because when you start getting into, well, I do videos, I do content marketing, I do social media. They're like, huh? It just younger people. It's easier. It's an easier conversation.
Sure.
But with my friends who've had, like, I got a friend, he's been in corporate America for like 25 years. He's a VP. He just doesn't get it. I don't even bring it up with him anymore. I'm just like, yeah, I'm working. So it's working out okay. It's working out all right.
Exactly. I love it.
Well, what was the big challenge? Like, you shut down the gyms, right? Because I know you were saying your monthly nut was 42 grand. I understand. When we had the warehouse, the trucks, the staff, we were burning about 25 to 30.
Yep.
And that was whether money was made that month or not. And people don't understand that. Sometimes our slow months was June, July, and August. Sometimes January was pretty good because we got a lot of internet bounce, but the summer could have been rough. What was your big challenge leaving all that?
My challenge was emotionally getting over it, because the way that I do things, the way that I never have a plan B. It's all plan A until my plan A gets hit by a car. And then there I am, sort of left, looking at, okay, what's next? And so to be honest with you, it was the worst time of my life, that the transition out of the fitness center. I was forced to file bankruptcy. I had $500,000 worth of debt, business debt, personal debt, taking money off credit cards to pay my staff. I was driving a beer cart at a golf course on weekends to make $200 so I could put gas in my car and give my girlfriend some money for groceries. I mean, it was bad. And so, but even while I was sitting there on a golf course, in 37-degree weather, giving beer to these, rich drunk guys, I still knew that I would be successful. There's no doubt. And so I think that for an entrepreneur, the big difference is, you just know there's an unwavering belief in yourself that regardless of what gets thrown at you, you'll persevere, and there's no plan B. You figure out plan B when you have to. And so it came down to where it was, there was no other option. And so my business partner and I, we decided that was it. And then it was a mad scramble to figure out what was next. And so it was emotionally, it was devastating. But as soon as as soon as I forgave myself for failing in my mind and came to terms with that was my passion. That was the only thing I ever wanted to do in my life. And when that gets taken away from you and you accept it, that was the hardest part in everything that I've ever done. And so, but then it was just about getting back on the horse and figuring out another direction and learning from the failures and the experiences that I had that, there were a lot of lessons that I learned throughout that period and owning those businesses. And so I've learned a lot, and I'm faster, nimbler, more astute, and a better businessman as a result. And today, sitting where I am, if you would have told me, 10 years ago that this is what I would consider success and that I could get up and do videos and make a living at it, I would have punched you in the teeth, because to me, the only thing that was going to make me happy was having a chain of successful nutrition or fitness centers. And so it's amazing how when opportunities close up, if you keep your eyes open and you work hard, other ones will open that were bigger, better, more amazing than the other ones. And so I don't know if I answered your question, but I told you my story.
Well, no, that was actually a beautiful piece, because one of the things that I see tripping up people, because I had a consulting business and I've kind of got away from that because it was really draining. But many people are under this crazy impression that they have to be immediately successful, that mistakes are bad. And going to your thing, I had 5 businesses that failed. I didn't have to file bankruptcy because they were all super small.
Yeah.
But I lost a lot of money. The first business was a picture with your pooch. I was at Fort McPherson in the barracks as a military, and I put an ad in the AJC and bought this $1,300 camera. At the time, I was making $900 a month. Yeah. I bought this $1,300 camera, had a phone installed in my barracks room, and put the ad in the paper and just waited, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. And that was just really demoralizing. It was really demoralizing because I didn't understand what I was doing. But as going back to your thing and falling off the horse, getting back on, those lessons that you learned, because I really think, because I've been watching you for a few years, because you're funny as shit, because you come up in there and you've got all of these little movements and you jump in the camera and you do, it's like you'll jump. It's like, okay, he's funny as hell. I just didn't know you were in Atlanta. How was your first year of YouTube?
Oh God, I didn't know what I was doing. Well, looking back, I've taken all those videos down because they were so horrible. Not to mention they're like 120 pixels. And so they were the grainiest things you'd ever want to see. It was this like new experience, and it was really fun, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand. I'm not a tech savvy person.
Right.
I just knew that I had a video, and I didn't understand the idea of subscribers. And then all of a sudden people were commenting. I uploaded my first video and somebody asked a question. I'm like, hey, this is cool. I'll do another video. And so it's sort of, before I knew it, I had 500 subscribers in, the next year, over the course of the first year. And I thought that was just the greatest thing ever. But that's when sort of the light bulb went off. And I realized that there was a bigger audience out there than the consulting that I was doing with working with people one-on-one. There's a message that people are interested in that is worldwide. And so, my business changed sort of from that point. I started writing more products, creating more virtual services, as opposed to doing the one-on-one consulting.
Right.
You know how consulting and when it's you that has to perform the task or the work, it's absolutely not scalable. And so, that's what, the first year was a learning experience. How about you?
I'm about to show you something. Yeah, that's the first year. I turned down the side. I looked like a runaway slave. I was scared. it was just, I was so stiff. I was moving. I was speaking in a monotone, and I still have most of them up there, but this is where it gets really, really stupid. When let's see,
See,
where
I played around with all the backgrounds too.
oh, it gets, there's some the dumb is, I don't like. I was using something not too much different from a potato to make my first videos. These were made on the MacBook that someone stole. Someone I used to date. It just disappeared when she stopped being in my life. And then I have these videos with these black bars. Yeah, there it is. Because that's standard definition. Because I didn't understand what 720 was.
Yep. Yep.
I really didn't understand what 720 was, and it was just, it's I cringe now. I do cringe, but I typically leave them up because one of the things that I try to tell people coming to the channel is you're going to make a lot of mistakes, a ton of mistakes, and I can't hide my mistakes and talk about like, well, you know, it's going to be okay. And so I just leave it up there and people laugh. And but some people still watch those old videos because the retention rate on some of them is amazing. Like it's about 80%, but they're shorter because that's when YouTube didn't let you do 30 and 40-minute. Like my videos are extremely long, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour.
They're epic.
Well, you know, that's when when I first was able to get AdSense, I just figured out if I had more moments for commercials, I could make more money for AdSense. And before they opened up the pool to everybody, it worked out really well. I mean, I had months where I was doing like 2,000 in AdSense. Then they opened up the pool and 50% cut down. And then it went lower and lower and lower. But I wasn't like totally upset because I've never made the majority of my money from YouTube using AdSense. It's never been the driver. So when did you start your own product line? How did you, do you make your stuff locally or do you bring it from?
So I've done a few different products. Like I started, I had a product called the Alpha M Style System. That was sort of my first like tangible product where it was a DVD series.
Okay.
And I actually was on Shark Tank for that.
Really?
Yeah. Season 4 Shark Tank. And they hated it.
Okay.
Oh, they hated it. And so they hated it, but you know, that was okay because I was like, oh, I'm going to be on Shark Tank. I'm going to sell tons of these. And it was the first stab at me getting into an info product. And so it was a DVD. It wasn't even downloadable. It was a DVD that I would mail out. And so I was charging $300 for it. And you know, it was a solid idea, but the application just wasn't right. And so from that experience and me realizing that, okay, there's got to be something better, I sort of took a look at what was popular on my channel. And some of my hair videos were what was really popular. So it's like, wait a second, why not, you know, start Pete and Pedro, Bueno Hair. Why not start a hair product line? Because I wasn't real satisfied with a lot of the grooming products that were out there for men. And so I went to my hairstylist and decided that there were some labs and I interviewed. I tried a bunch of products. We tested and changed things and came out with my line. And this was back in 2013.
All right, let's put a pause there. What I have a lot of people on this channel from the storage auction days who absolutely hate the fact that I was like, you can make a living without eBay or Amazon. And this is another reason that I brought you on. You went through a lot of reiterations with, you know, putting together your product. Now, I don't want your trade secrets because you got to keep those. But do you make your products locally? Do you have them shipped in? You make them locally?
No, I have them in California.
Okay, so they're domestically. They're not, they're not channel. Okay.
Correct.
And you control the whole chain from everything. Now, just from the beginning of that concept up to now, how long did it take you to work out most of the kinks? Because if you have a business, there's always kinks. It's just there's major kinks and there's minor kinks.
You know, I started in March of 2013. Year number 1, I made 36,000.
Okay.
Year 2, I made 275. So as it grew, and this year, you know, I should just in that product sales, I should hit $750,000. And so That's good, I would assume. I don't know.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's made in, I have it, the lab is in California. Basically I sourced it a bunch of different labs, and this was the one that I really loved. And so I have a full line. I've got 6 styling products, shampoo and conditioner. And I just sell it. I sell it, and I love it. Figuring out the shipping, logistics, that the fact that there are a lot of, dishonest people that steal credit cards in some countries was another learning curve. I lost a lot of money in fraudulent transactions, but it's all still a work in progress, but it's incredible.
I'm gonna put a little pause in there again. Okay. You started this in 2013. It's only 2015. So collectively, you're over the 500,000 mark from a business that that's only not even 3 years old.
Yeah, this year I'll hit $1 million in total Pete and Pedro lifetime sales. So that's pretty cool.
Now, see, this is the wonderful thing. Like, you've went through this journey, you've had all of this stuff happen, but you never gave up, and you're proving a lot of points. Because, see, I knew you had the site, but I didn't know that you're going to be this candid, which I really appreciate you, because this is what people want to know. How much money they make? How much money?
Hey, and here's the other thing. That's not what I make the majority of my money on.
This is why I love the internet. Now, since you went there, what's your other product?
Well, because it's not it's video. It's advertising. It's the fact that I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but positioning myself as a men's lifestyle blogger, basically, it opens me up to talk about everything from clothing to grooming products to cars to water to sports. I mean, you name it. If it has to do with men, I can talk about it. And so when your audience grows, Alpha M. When your audience grows, it attracts a lot of companies. They want you talking about their products, and so it's advertising, man. They will pay for you to use their products, wear their products, talk about their products. The toughest thing at this point is really sticking to my guns and realizing that credibility is king. The minute I start just talking about anything that somebody will pay me for and the minute I become the home shopping network, I lose all credibility, and I might as well just go home. And so, you have to be willing to turn down good money in order to, really preserve your reputation. Yeah.
Like the wallets, like all of the wallets, because when you were doing your 10 business lessons.
Yes, exactly. How many stupid wallet? Hey, no offense if you're starting a wallet company, but Slim wallets. Oh my goodness, it's insane. Yeah, Slim wallets and sock companies. Everybody's got one.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is what's really funny. When did your channel really start to grow? Because, like you said, you're you are a let's call it a handsome blogger. We're not going to call you a beauty blogger, but that's one of the powers that their channels have. They could talk about so much: mascara, lipstick.
Hey, let me hip you to what's actually happening. All those haul videos that you see where these girls are like, hey, here's my camera. Isn't it cool? Love this. And then check out my mouse. This is the greatest mouse. I got this from Forever 21. They get paid $15,000 to $20,000 per product. They'll string 10 products and make $100,000 in one video. Crazy.
I knew that they were getting crazy money for product placement. Michelle Fan, she was the first one, and I know one of them, kind of, sorta, and I don't know how much money she makes, but I know she bought a Mercedes-Benz and she paid cash for it, and she's like 29.
Yep, absolutely. It's the advertisers, man, because that's the thing. It's this is where the demographic of young girls and young men who spend money they're not watching movies, they're not watching TV, they're online,
Right.
they're on YouTube. And so people want to be, the companies and the brands want to be in front of that audience. And so they'll they'll do what they need to do.
Well, no, I mean, that's why I said this thing is just beginning. That's why I said it is just beginning, because because my channel's geared totally different than most YouTube channels. It's been geared to make money since day one. So I care more about conversions than views and likes. But I've been really pushing. Like, this is the first month I hit 300,000 views. And awesome. I got so many join this I forget what they because I ignore them. Network, join this network, join that network, and they don't understand. And I just told one guy, look, I use my AdSense money for advertising. I don't even look at it as money I get. I look at it as money I use to get more money. That's how I look at it. And your business plan is totally diametrically opposed to what I want to do. And I've gotten so many of them. Now I'm starting to get people who are saying, hey, could we network? Could we partner up and this other stuff? But I sell a lot of my own products. I sell a ton of my own stuff. And, you know, when you have your own thing, you don't really want to bring anybody else to the party, so to speak, because I don't even know of what, because this one guy, he knows I'm starting a podcast and he wants to sponsor that, but he's not offering money that's got my attention. Let's put it that way. But none of this would have happened if it wasn't for that first crappy video.
That
I downloaded and tore up, and there's like 4 videos that were so bad I deleted them, but the rest of them I left up.
It's and a lot of people are, and this is also something that I tell everybody. If you have a business, it doesn't matter what it is. You should really try and start a YouTube channel, because there's no better way to market and advertise your business than YouTube. It's the second biggest search engine next to Google, even though it's technically not a search engine. It's classified that way because this is where people go to search. So if you make tires for cars, have a YouTube channel where you're putting up tips to get better gas mileage or what to look for in a good tire. I mean, there you can talk about it. You can become the expert. And if you become the expert, you're going to see your business just explode from places you would have had no idea. I don't understand how businesses used to do business at this point. I'm like, did people actually look for people in phone books at one point? If you needed a locksmith, did you go to your phone book? Yeah, I guess you did. Or it was a referral. Well, now, you know, people just go online, hop on, become the expert.
I mean, no, what you say is really true, because I look at my own behavior. Where I live, there's like 5 Targets and maybe 10 square miles. You know where most of my stuff comes from? Amazon.
Yep.
It comes to the door. Only thing I go to the store and get is food. That's about it, or maybe a little shopping. But my behaviors are really different than a lot of other people's, because this is another thing you probably can understand more than anyone else. When you have incredible control of your time, it seems to freak some people out, because let's be honest, some people in retirement don't have this level of freedom. It does not happen. And I think we're going to a point where, because I actually started another YouTube channel just to do that, because what you said earlier about how I just treat your fans with love, and that doesn't work. The reason that you're getting so many views is because you're hot, you're 17, and you have your breast up, because the girls are looking at you, the guys are looking at you, even the homosexual guys are looking at you for fashion tips. That's what they're looking at. And it's not because you just woke up and started uploading videos. And I think that duplicity misleads a lot of girls who don't have that look, because you see girls who are putting up videos, and they're not getting that. And also something else, the back channeling that goes on, because Smosh, who had 20 million subscribers, once he started dating this girl, her channel she instantly went to 6 figures just because she was associated with him.
Yep.
Nothing special. Nothing. It's just like, oh, she must be. It's like Kim Kardashian has just blessed the whole family. It's like, oh, this one. If you're in the Kardashian family, you're instantly going to get a show. You're instantly going to make money.
Yep.
And it's not even about talent. It's about position.
No, I agree.
And that's a big thing, because now, how many of your friends still look at you crazy because of the YouTube channel, or now that you're really successful, they're like, ah, or they're still going,
I still don't think most of them understand. They go, so how do you make money? I go, all right. And so I, my friends are great. I mean, you know, they think it's funny. They think it's cool though. They think it's cool that you can make a living making, you know, making videos. And I happen to think it's really cool too. So we're on the same page.
I think the thing that people miss is, it's not that you just make videos, you provide a service. You, you provide content, and there's another one of my friends. He has this company he started on YouTube called Asshole Consulting. He'll be on the show. He just makes money answering questions for folks who don't have big brothers and fathers.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. That is cool. You're and that's the thing. I say making videos, but at the bottom and the root of what I do is I help guys feel better about themselves. Everything, all the content that I put out is geared towards helping people feel good and confidence. And so, you know, yes, I make videos, but I do my best to provide as much value as I possibly can. And so, you know, that's what gets me up in the morning. It's I love making the content that I do, and I like interacting and you know, talking and engaging and just being in this ecosystem that we're in. I love every bit of it, man.
If for someone just starting a YouTube channel, because you started in 2008, I started in 2009, it's way different than it used to be. It's way different. What advice would you give someone, or business? Let's keep it with business. What advice would you give it to a business to start a channel based on your experience?
Just get your first video up. Don't worry about perfection. You're never going to be satisfied with what you say, how you sound, what you look like, the way you're standing. Get it up, film it. Good enough is done. Get the first one out of the way, get it up. Then do your second. Consistency is key. Once a week, you need to be uploading something. I believe once a week is sort of like a benchmark. But just getting that first one done and up, that's the hardest one to do. I've talked to so many people that are like, well, I'm not really happy. I filmed it 27 times. I'm like, what? I go, you could have 10 videos up. I'm not happy with my videos, and I filmed 2,500 of them. And so, you know, it's just, you're always, everybody's the worst critic. Don't worry about it. Nobody notices any of the little ticks that you have. You just got to get it up there and keep practicing, because it's like with anything. The more you do, the more you practice, the more you put up, the better at it you get. And that's it.
Now, on the tip of business, because one of the reasons that I watch you is I recognize you were a business person until you put up. I found that video with the 10 business lessons. I didn't know how deep that rabbit hole went. For someone who's coming brand new to online, what would your advice be for them to start some kind of business? Because your business is rooted in who you are, and I think that's why it works so well for you, because all of that stuff you do in your channel, that's you. That's just how you live. That's your thing.
What I would say is, you need to open your mind and be curious. That's something that I think a lot of people lose. When we're young, what do? We ask, right? What's that? Why? How come? Who's that? What's that? We ask questions. We're curious about everything. But somewhere along the line, we get conditioned to stop being curious and to do what's expected. With online businesses and the internet, you need to just sort of reinvigorate your curiosity. And if you're curious about something, explore it, see where it goes, see where it leads. How can you monetize that? It's something where you just need to explore the different options that are out there, because there are options for making money out there that you had no idea existed. So, you know, just get curious and start doing your research and looking. And the beautiful thing about the internet, it doesn't take a lot of capital in order to start. And it also, because of the size and because you can basically start a business for $5 for a website template, get a PayPal account, you know, you could be up and running selling something. And also capturing your audience, that email list. That's something that I am a late adopter on, getting people's email addresses, because if the internet blows up, or say YouTube blows up, what do you have? You've got nothing. And so you need to really make sure that you're collecting information from these people as well. But for new people starting, just take a look at what's out there and be willing to adopt. Or not adopt, but adapt. If you see something's not working, don't wait 6 months to try and convince your audience that this is what they want. No, you're nimble, you're quick, shift, change. On a dime, you can pivot and try something else. And that's the beautiful thing about the internet. You don't have to be locked into anything too much. You can shift, you can try, you can test, you can experiment. And that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, I agree. I drive my people crazy because I've tested out about 50 concepts this year, because my failure rate's about 20. It's 25. My success rate is 25%. So I fail 75% of the time. So for me to have 100 successes, I need to do 400 things. And
yeah,
I was wearing my list out. People were like, "What are you doing? Are you desperate?" And the thing is, I took a chance to move my internet business in a totally different direction, because what I think is going to happen, email lists are great and they're more effective than anything else out there in social media. The email list crushes everything. However, I've been doing email lists since 2009, and I've noticed that their effectiveness is not the same. They're still effective and I'm still going to do it, but I'm starting to sell products in video, because whenever someone comes in or they leaves a nice comment, I'll engage them, and I'm finding out that people are starting to buy much sooner. The whole thing with, you need a funnel. The customer needs to look at 7, interact with you 7, 8, 10 times before they buy. I've got people who come to the channel and buy that day. The first day they find the channel, and I'm finding out that those folks are actually stronger customers because they buy in immediately.
Yeah.
And the longer I wait to pitch them, the greater chance I have of not selling anything to them. So I've been really, really working on that. And that's a whole different thing, because one of the things that's fun about talking to you is you have real business experience before the internet. You remember when, everyone thinks it's normal now, and it is normal, that your cell phone is your only phone. I remember having home phones. I remember having an answering machine.
I actually remember having to remember people's phone numbers.
I know.
That's what's so. Oh man, well, there are 2 phone numbers that I know from heart. Actually, 3. My own, my wife's, and my grandmother's. That's it. And the grandmother's just because I've been dialing it for 39 years.
Right. It's really interesting what's happening in this space, because I think one of the reasons that a lot of businesses don't come online is because of the confusing information that comes from the younger demographic, which some of them are brilliant. I'm not going to marginalize them, but a lot of them just really lucked up into it. And the early adapters, I finally figured that out, because it would drive me. I was like, how did this work? You hear this kid? Yeah, I got 10,000 subscribers this week. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I finally figured it out. 2006, 2007, 2008, Facebook wasn't what it is today, but MySpace was the monster. So these kids who were upwardly mobile, because that was another thing, everyone didn't have a camera. All these phones were, camera phones. That wasn't like that. So they would come on YouTube, then they will filter their video through MySpace, and it would blow up because there wasn't all of this distraction. Because, you already know this. Your video is competing with PlayStation, Disney, the phone, Angry Birds, Facebook, Twitter, Vine. All of that stuff is competing with you because they all want that person's attention.
Absolutely.
And that is the big thing. And that's why I've been working on more content marketing. And see, that's the thing. What you do for your products, and it's just naturally embedded, which is so crazy, is content marketing.
Yep.
Just talk about what you use. Because I'm not going to lie, every time you jump on something or you jump in the camera, I crack the fuck up. I'm sorry. It's like, boom, it's like, okay. It's like he's having fun.
Oh, and that's the thing. And that, it's funny though, because I've taken a lot of my videos down, but part of it was trying to figure out, like in the beginning stages of my YouTube channel, I was trying to figure out who I was and what my message was. And so I looked at all these other successful YouTubers and I saw that they were being real racy, or they were cursing, or they were just being over the top, you know, whatever. And so I did that for a little bit, thinking, okay, well, I've got to be a jerk in certain way, or I've got to say something that's off color. And what I realize is that what people really reward is authenticity now. And that's what they're looking for. In the world that we live in, with all this, you know, the superficial nature of everything, if you're just real with somebody and tell them, you know, and let them see who you are, I mean, that's what people are really looking for. And so I took all those videos down because I was embarrassed of myself. So,
well, I was getting ready to say, you know, that's just not you, because I get the feeling that you are truly one of those folks who's a gentleman. And a lot of guys pretend to be that to get women when that's not really who they are.
No, that whole space of the pickup artist is a whole nother story, conversation for another day.
Well, I mean, you got many people, because and there's something else you might want to do on your channel. You can you take a Google Doc and turn it into a feedback form and put it in one of your channel icons, one of your links on your channel page. I ask my crowd, like, you know, because I use a lot of profanity, because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And, you know, for some people, they don't like it. And I say, that's fine, because there's someone on YouTube for you that will give you what you want, which is cool. Then I asked my people that they like it, and I was really surprised, because it's like, I don't care. And one person said, I'm leaving the channel if you stop cussing.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
And mine, and I'm not talking about the language. I'm talking about just the topics that I would cover and some of the things that I would say. I just was not, it just
wasn't cool for you.
It wasn't, it just wasn't good anymore. It just wasn't worth it.
Well, I mean, I totally get that, because my big struggle was, I write dirty books, erotica. Well, I was writing quite a few. I have a few under a pen name. I write under the name of a chick, and they were doing pretty well. And then there's so many things I could do that I was confusing people. So I started focusing strictly on business, and I started to see great returns, because I did the same thing that you did. I looked at a bunch of YouTubers, and the ones I saw that were really, really successful, they had one singular topic, and everything else spun around that. You, being one of those handsome bloggers, is you could talk about so many things, but it all intersects with grooming, style, confidence. So it's not an atypical thing to have on your channel. Whereas I'm doing business. So like the story I put this morning about Marissa Mayer, who's the CEO of Yahoo. She's pregnant. She's going to take 2 weeks of maternity leave, and all these feminist organizations and the national organizations, they're losing their mind. And I put my take out there because it fits business, because, you know, I have, my channel used to be like 90-some% male. Now it's 80% male, 20% female. And it's like, look, the reality is, if you're the CEO of a company, you're not a normal woman. You can't have that normal woman's life. And the reason she's only taken 2 weeks, and Yahoo's has been in trouble for years. There's a lot of things wrong with Yahoo. So she can't just go off for 3 or 4 months when the ship is already sinking. Yeah. And the thing is, this is what's funny about her. She doesn't have to work. When she was one of the first Google employees, she's worth 300 million. She works because she wants to. Yep. And I give her a lot of credit and props for that. But it comes back to one of the reasons I got you on the channel and other business owners. Many people have this facade of business ownership. Like, you get to do whatever you want. Like, now I can. But in the beginning years, oh my God, I was a slave to my business. Yeah. 100% slave to my business. I mean, when I look back, and that's one of the reasons that I talk about these subjects unvarnished and just give people the truth. You can now build a business that I couldn't have built 10 years ago. Sure. And my whole thing now is I preach, create your life first, and then the business that fits into your life. Don't build a business and then try to fit your life in that business, because it won't work. And that's the reason you have so many things that go wrong in the personal relationships with the friends and other things. Now that I'm past this is a new thing, because I'm just amazed at how well it worked. But you know, just having people like yourself who have went from physical business to personal tragedy to now you got a product and a company that's going to do 7 figures in less than 3 years, which is pretty strong. which is really, really,
I
really
think
strong.
it's strong. But you know, yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm fortunate. I'm just so happy that I get to do this every day. And, you know, hopefully it continues, and hopefully I'm smart enough to know when it's time to hang up my hat and do something else. But I think that my business will continue to evolve. I stopped making 5-year plans. I just hope that next year, this time, I'm having as much fun as I am now, and I still don't have to worry too much about money. That's it. Everything that sort of happens in the meantime, and as a result, is sort of just just bonus. So
All right, that is really, really cool. I want to say thanks for coming in, giving us your time, and just helping out this
absolutely.
crowd here about business, because a lot of people just have misconceptions. And what I wanted to do, and you know, like once again, thanks,
Oh,
is
absolutely.
bring
Thank
real
you.
people who have real businesses who are not what I call the stratosphere of the Google, you know, of Zuckerberg, of all this stuff. Because the thing is, you can start a simple business and have an amazing life. So with that, we'll just say thanks. Appreciate you having you on the show.
Thank you
Hopefully,
so much.
if not, yeah, if you don't mind, at some point in the future, we probably want to bring you back to just see what's going on with your company, because I have a
Yeah.
feeling you're going to be doing something else too in the very
I have a
near
feeling I
future.
will be too. But since you're in Georgia and you're like 10 minutes from me, we might as well do a video together.
Cool.
All
Done.
right.
Done. All right.
Done?
Done. Done. So with that, I'm going to shut this down.
Brendan, thank you so much.
Thank you.